Welcome to my kitchen. My name is Sho Stillo, and as you can see by my glistening soft body, I'm gonna be your shirtless chef today. Today, I'm gonna make an amazing meal. It's called a torta. A torta is basically a Mexican sandwich. I'm gonna do a torta de milanesa de pollo. Milanesa. Say it a few times. That's a beautiful word. It actually means fried chicken breast. It's sort of gonna be a Mexican fried chicken breast with cheese on top on a big bun sandwich, some sauce and everything. It's not just gonna be a sandwich that we're making. We're also gonna do something called frijoles a la charra. Charra means is a sort of like a big bowl. Originally, it's a clay pot. Some people can call it borracho beans as well because there's some beer in there. You can put a little bit of tequila. It's sort of like a bean stew. It's got the one that I'm making has Salvadoran chorizo on it. Some people put bacon in there, which is amazing. Some people, my aunts that made it back at home, they'd actually put hot dogs in it. So it's like a bean stew with chile, tomate, cebolla. And chile, tomate, cebolla is a staple in Mexican cuisine. Also, on the side, I'm gonna do a Mexican cabbage salad, which is gonna consist of cabbage, onions again, tomato, onion, jalapeno, some cilantro with lime juice on it. It's gonna be delicious. Whenever you make a meal that consists of sides, stews, pan-fried goods, toasted stuff, what takes longest is the first thing to do. So the first thing that we're gonna start off with is our frijoles a la charra, and that's our Mexican bean stew. As we start this meal, we're gonna think about the first things that we want to cook. And this is a big pepper. We want to roast this bad boy. This is just on flame. We're gonna burn the bad boy. We're gonna bring out all the smokiness and all the goodness. If you have an electric stove, just pop that bad boy in the oven, turn it on high, and just grill the outside. It's gonna be good to go. Okay, so we have the Mexican bean stew, the frijoles a la charra. The first thing that we're gonna do with that is grill up some onions and some peppers. You know, we're gonna throw some onions in there. We're gonna throw some jalapenos in there too, and what's gonna work really well with this, some diced tomatoes too. Don't forget about your pepper. Look at that. That's the good stuff right there. You want this whole pepper to be completely black. Throwing some oil in on the stuff here. Slicing up a little bit of garlic as well. As we're grilling this up, you notice I'm not giving out recipes. I'm not saying half a cup of onions. A quarter cup of jalapenos, 3 cloves of garlic. You know what? Cooking is a little bit more organic than that. You know, when I first started getting into cooking and really started advancing my cooking skills, you know, I used the recipe sort of as a guide. You know, I had the measurements there, and then when I followed the measurements perfectly, something would not match up, and I couldn't even figure out what that is because I'm like, well, I followed it. It said half a cup of this, half a cup of that. It didn't work out right. And that's when you start to ask yourself, think outside of the recipe booklet and just sort of go with the flow. You see this right here? This is Salvadoran chorizo. This is the good stuff. This isn't Mexican chorizo. This is Salvadoran chorizo. Let me just pull this out. Do you see this? This is the ultimate right here. I'm just gonna take a couple of these, slice them up, and throw them in the pot once everything is grilled up. What I want are nice, thick slices because when you're eating this, you wanna put this whole thing in your mouth. So we're gonna take this, throw it all in there. This is pure love right in the pot right there. I'm gonna throw a few more tomatoes in this. Tomatoes don't have to be grilled up. As this boils out, the tomato's gonna add some thickness to it. And once again, you gotta make sure you're checking the pepper. Ooh, nice and juicy, just like I like it.
Ooh, nice and juicy.
It's time to put the beans in there. So this is what a homemade bean looks like. Let's just make it happen. We're on high heat. We want to continue to have it boiling. At that point, we want to put some cilantro in there as well because what Mexican dish does not go well with cilantro? Okay, one more thing we want to add to this. I almost forgot. This right here is cumin. It is one of the most popular spices in Mexico. Almost everything has cumin or comino in it. I use about a spoonful. Whew! Looks good to me. Now that is a roasted pepper. Let me just slice this in half for you. Look at the goodness seeping out of that. Alright, we're gonna let this simmer, moving it off to the side. We're gonna work on our little side salad. First thing we do, we take cabbage. You wanna throw some onions in there too. Just toss it up in here with your fingers a little bit. You wanna put some tomatoes in there as well. Not too many, because the tomatoes have a lot of moisture and it'll start to get, you know, it's a little gooey if you put too many tomatoes in it. It all depends on the spice here. The spice level, you want some jalapeno. Don't forget, you want to put some crushed red peppers in here too. On top of that, you want cilantro. Adds that nice bitterness. Let's do some fresh scallions as well. Boom! You know what this is? This is a lime squeezer. You don't want to be using your fingers for this. This is a device that is good for one thing, and it's called squeezing limes. And you squeeze. So you get some limes in there, good to go. And the cool thing about this thing is that it holds the seeds, so you don't have to be picking seeds out and that whole mess. We want to put some salt in there. And you know what? We use our fingers right here. So we're mixing up that salad. When you're done with the salad, that's what it's supposed to look like. The next thing that we need to do is work on the actual torta, the fried chicken breast. We're starting off with a really nice chicken breast. And let's just cut this bad boy in half. This is a big piece of meat that's not gonna fit in a sandwich. We want this flat. Best way to do it is with this thing. You know, some people call it a meat tenderizer. Some people call it a club. I just call it the bad boy. It's gonna take a few minutes. Well, let's turn it over to the other side. This is good flatness, so this is what it needs to look like. We also have our crumb coating and an egg wash. All it is an egg that's beat, you know, sort of battered, with some salt and pepper in it, and that's all it is. Simple as that. The actual crumbs here, you can use panko crumbs. You can use like straight up bread crumbs from toasted bread. You can use all kinds of stuff. You can use instant grits. You can use anything that's sort of crispy and crunchy. What I like to use is actually ground up saltine crackers. For me, that's really good because the saltine crackers are they're toasty. They're already made. They already have a salt with them too, so it comes out with a really awesome flavor. So we're gonna take our chicken breast. We're gonna put it in the egg wash. Both sides, you get a nice coating. Nice coating. See how beautiful that is? It's gonna go straight into the coating of the saltine crackers. Just all the way around, all the way around. We're getting that salt in there, nice toasty. At this point, it's gonna go straight into the pan. You wanna sort of ease it in there. You don't wanna be splashing around with oil. You gotta be really careful, you know. You don't wanna wind up with little oil marks and oil burns all over your chest because of course when you're in the kitchen, you're cooking shirtless. Throwing that one in there. Since I'm shirtless, I do need a little bit of protection. As you can see, this is a splatter guard and it's gotten a lot of use. So we're putting the splatter guard on this because I don't want to mess up the goods right here. You know, check this out. You don't want to mess this up right here. I work very hard for this rock solid abs. I don't want to fuck it up. Starting to get that nice glow. We're going to cook it on one side and flip it over and cook it on the other side. This right here is called a bolillo. It's a Mexican bread. You can toast it, you can eat it just like this. We're gonna make a nice sandwich out of it. Look at the size of this bad boy. This isn't gonna feed one person, it's gonna feed me and you. So as we have our bread, we don't want just like regular soft bread, even though it's delicious. We want to toast it up. So I'm gonna put it into my secret toaster over here. It's time for a little cervecita. Whew. Got a little bit of beer. And you know what? It's a great time to actually add it to the borracho beans. Borracho in Spanish means drunk. Just add whatever. You sort of mix it up. The beer and the alcohol really takes it to the next level. So we're gonna let that continue to simmer. Bread is out of the toaster. We have our chicken breasts. They're pretty much ready to go. Let's check them out. Ooh, look at the sizzle on that. We're gonna add another level of goodness to this. You know what that level of goodness is? Some queso. Some cheese, yo. We're gonna take the cheese, pop it up in there, and we're gonna pop this into the toaster oven. Let me reach on in here and see what we got. Woo! Check that out. We have a nice melted cheese on it. This is ready for our sandwich. We're gonna make some homemade chipotle mayonnaise. question is, how do you make chipotle mayonnaise? You grow your own chipotle peppers, first of all. You can make your mayonnaise from scratch. We're not gonna grow our own chipotles. We're not gonna make our mayonnaise from scratch. We're gonna use jarred mayonnaise and a chipotle pepper paste that's from a can. That's right. We're gonna take our mayonnaise, mix it in with the canned chipotle peppers, and guess what? We got chipotle mayonnaise. As simple as that. So look at that. Mix mayonnaise with chipotle. We're actually gonna put the lettuce down on each side of the bread, and we're gonna put the mayonnaise on the lettuce itself. Reason being is that we don't, this torta is gonna be a little bit juicy. It's gonna be a little bit creamy. What we don't want to happen is the bread to be completely soaked in mayonnaise, and that's a trick that you can use for any sandwich. So we got our chicken breasts on here too. Remember those amazing roasted red peppers? Let's just do that, put that on there. We want to add a little bit of kick and spice to this, so we're gonna do fresh roasted or fresh sliced jalapenos for this as well. We're building a creation here. We're building a stack, layer upon layer of this food flavor. It's gonna be great. We can use sliced onions. I'm just gonna use diced onions for this. We're also gonna do some cilantro. Okay, last but not least, we're gonna put some fresh avocado in this. Before we close it all up, we're just gonna season it with some salt. Make sure everything is good to go. 1, 2, 3. Okay, it's time to put the two halves together. It's time to make some sandwich love here, ladies and gentlemen. 1, 2, 3, and that's it. That is a Mexican torta. This is gonna be a meal for you and me, for 2 people here. You skewer the 2 ends of the sandwich, and then you bust out your trusty bread knife. You basically sort of hold the sandwich and just slice it down the middle. Let the gravity take it. Don't force it through, Let it go. Treat your sandwich just like your lady, Just ease it on in, nice and smooth. How amazing does that look? Oh my God! Okay, so remember that little frijoles a la charra, borracho beans stew, whatever you call it. Remember that thing? So it's been simmering now for the past 10 minutes as you've been making all your other stuff, and we're just gonna serve it on up. Little cabbage salad. Let's just put some of that on the plate as well. Okay, so now that we have all of our meal prepped out, we gotta have a little bit of a drink, you know what I'm saying? What we're gonna do today is do an amazing michelada. What a michelada is basically Mexican beer with some spices thrown in, lime, a little bit of tomato juice. It's delicious. Check it out. Put a little bit of tomato juice. Tomato juice sort of just adds a little bit of color and flavor. Pre-prepped michelada mix. You can pick this stuff up at any Mexican grocery store. Some chili powder, and you can create your own michelada. That's the thing. At any restaurant you go to in Mexico or anywhere, you ask for a michelada, you get a totally different thing. You get your Mexican beer. It doesn't have to be a Mexican beer. You can use American beer, but what kind of beer that you actually do need to use is very light beer. If you use like a chocolate stout, and you try to put chili powder and tomato juice on it, it might not work out. But you never know. That might be the next big thing. So we take our tomato juice, spice mixture, just pour it up on in there. And you can also line the rim with salt as well and chili powder. But that's all it is. It's sort of a spicy beer. That's it. That is a Mexican michelada. Before we go any further, I'm gonna do a taste test because, since we're gonna share this whole little meal situation, I gotta make sure that your drink isn't poison. That, my friends, is an authentic michelada. Ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of this amazing meal. We have our borracho beans, we have our Mexican torta, we have our amazing michelada. I cannot eat by myself, so please join me because I have one for me and also one for you. Cheers.